I'm going to begin, John, by just asking, what inspired the move to the US with this particular endeavour?
It was just, I made 2 films in Ireland, and you're waking up in the darkness, and then at 4 o'clock it's dark again. So it's nice to go to the southwest where it's sunshiny all day long. So that was a big element. It was, the Garden Calvary were kind of essentially westerns, and I thought, let's actually go to the southwest and make a contemporary western, just go straight for it. That was the main thing. It was also a change of scene, working with a different crew, all that kind of stuff. See how it works in America, The budget doesn't go as far in America. A lot of it seems to go on food. Seems to always be loads of food going around. I put on about £30 because you're always waiting between setups, and if a truck, the old food truck goes by, you always grab something. But yeah, it was an interesting experience, put it that way.
But I mean, because obviously the last 2 features, there's this kind of small town feel which works so well in a sense that everybody knew everybody else in the kind of town, and that whole kind of mentality was really it was a very prevalent kind of theme within the films. Was it quite odd kind of dealing with a set of characters where that wasn't really an issue at all in this situation?
Well, I think I wanted the film to be really surreal. It's not, it's not based in any kind of verifiable reality, this one. Yeah, the small towns in the Garden Calvary, no matter what happened in the film, gave it a kind of basis. I wanted this to be, I talk about it as being a kind of almost Marx Brothers cross with the French Connection. It was to have those crazy anarchic elements. And I knew that if you go that crazy and you go that anarchic, you do lose sight of reality in a way. And so I knew that going in. And I knew it was going to be brasher, it would be visually big. They're smashing cars into strip clubs and all that kind of stuff. So I always knew we were going to lose a realistic basis, but I kind of wanted to do that just as a reaction against Calvary, which was my previous film.
And I mean, humour obviously is always very subtly different in different countries and different cultures. When you were writing for characters based in America, did you notice that you had to kind of adjust the way you kind of wrote jokes at all to kind of adhere to a kind of American culture? Or
No, when we did rehearsals with Alex and Michael, the only changes you'd make is if they don't understand the joke because it's peculiarly European in some way. I mean, there was some joke about the Belgian paedophile Marc Dutroux. I thought that was a famous case, and neither of them... Well, Alex had vaguely heard of it, and Michael said, I don't know what that refers to at all. So then there's no point having that in there, So it was, let's get rid of any lines of dialogue that isn't going to apply to an American audience, because that is set in America. That's probably going to be your biggest audience. Try to make it explicable in that way. But then there's other stuff that is really obscure and that I just left in anyway, because it's like, well, if you don't get it, you don't get it. It's irrelevant.
And I read that Alexander was cast based on that hilarious video of him at the football ground. I was wondering if that's true, and if so, what was it about that video that made you think, right, that's who I want?
It is true. Obviously somebody who's almost blind drunk, trying to incite a football crowd. I find those people quite amusing. Most other people probably don't. Alex said it's the only time he's got a job out of being blind drunk. Most directors aren't looking for that in an actor. But yeah, I just thought that, the character is kind of similar. Not that an actor needs to be similar to the character they're playing, but he obviously could go there, let's put it that way.
I mean, both characters are rather flawed, to say the least. I mean, well, horrible bastards is probably a more kind of apt way of describing them. But you do always remain on their side. Was that quite a challenge for you to ensure that kind of balance was right, that we do kind of find ourselves rooting for them despite the fact we don't like them particularly? Yeah,
I mean, I think the thing that you gradually realise all the way through that, we're not trying to say they are nice people, they're despicable people. But also they have a war on everyone approach. They're not singling out one or another person in the community to terrorise. They're terrorising everybody. But the main thing is, the actors are warm, charismatic, funny people, and they give you that extra lift. So if it wasn't there in the writing, they give it to you. Just by the nature of who they are and their presence.
And do you think when you are writing jokes that can be kind of offensive, that kind of might ridicule certain people, certain cultures, if you do ridicule everyone, I suppose it's kind of fair cop, isn't it?
Yeah, because I always think if somebody says, oh, you can't make a joke about that religion or that religious person, you're basically saying they're not like us. They're other, they're different, they have no sense of humour. And that type of political correctness, isn't that type of political correctness then racist? Because you're saying they're not human beings like we are, so leave them alone. Well, I'm saying I'm not going to leave them alone. I'm going to include them in this mass insult. So to me, that's anti-racist.
Mass insult. That's exactly what this movie is. In a really good way. Cheers, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.